We have another admission by the Trump administration that they made another error and sent somebody to the wrong country, deported them to a country where they will face certain bodily injury or harm based on a false information that they provided to a federal judge in violation of that person's due process rights. They have sent somebody who's known by the initials of OCG, who is subject to an injunction in the Massachusetts federal court under Judge Murphy, a Biden appointee, and he was deported to Mexico, a third-party country, not under the Alien Enemies Act, but under another set of policies of the Trump administration to send people out of the United States, and if their home country won't take them, to send them to third-party countries. Except in this case, Mexico is where this person, OCG, this human being, was, based on the records, raped because he was gay, raped, and kidnapped, and his sister had to pay a ransom for him. They got him out. He transited to the United States. He was then deported to Mexico because there was false information that the Trump administration has just informed the federal judge in a filing. Erroneous information that he was okay with going to Mexico or going back to Mexico. He was raped and kidnapped in Mexico. And yet the federal government had a false entry in their books that said he had told some officer that he was okay with going to Mexico, when in fact that's a lie. It's now back up before Judge Murphy, who's going to have to take command and control of this situation. This is about the 6th or 7th example of people being sent over court orders based on lies to foreign, dark, dank prisons, all in violation of due process. Donald Trump never finds a way to give more due process to somebody. He only gives them no due process. And now this federal judge, Judge Murphy's going to have to deal with it. This is a case of DVD versus the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and I'm going to cover it right here on Legal AF. Brian Ortega filed an affidavit on behalf of the government. He says he's working with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. He also works with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and he's the Assistant Field Officer Director for these agencies in the Phoenix office. And here's what he buries, because the judge is trying to get to the bottom of why Ortega is in Mexico, and he wants a straight answer. Yeah, because if he was sent there illegally, again, by the Trump administration, this judge is going to order his return. That the Trump administration facilitate him coming back from Mexico to obtain due process rights. They already made a determination at the immigration level that this person cannot be sent back to Guatemala, probably because of his sexual orientation status, or he will face certain death. Well, he fared no better in Mexico, and the files showed it. I mean, raping and kidnapping is not a country I want to return to, don't you think? So the judge says, well, I'm getting some conflicting information here. The lawyers are saying he should not have been sent to Mexico, but the government is saying that he was okay with being sent to Mexico. I want to do more fact-finding. I want to do more discovery. I want affidavits, sworn statements under oath from people in the government about whether that statement is true that I've heard in this courtroom, and upon which I base my decision not to order his immediate return, that he was okay with going there. What are the facts to support that? And Ortega for the government had to come in all sheepish. And here's what he said. On March 25 of this year, this is on page 2 of his declaration, I signed a declaration that stated on or about February 21, 2025, prior to OCG, this gentleman, being removed to Mexico, the government verbally asked through an agent, this person, if he was afraid of being returned to Mexico. Now, let's be clear. He's Guatemalan. He was only in Mexico for a short time and got raped and kidnapped there. At this time, the OCG stated he was not afraid of returning to Mexico. This statement was based on a computer software called the ICE Enforce, ENFORCE, Alien Removal Module. It's a software tool that provides an integrated and comprehensive view of an alien's detention and removal status. According to a footnote in his declaration, the software permits staff to place comments into each alien's record regarding the status of their case, any court updates, or other relevant case information. Upon further investigation conducted pursuant to the court's discovery order, in other words, unless the court ordered us to do it, we wouldn't have found out our error. ICE was unable to identify an officer or officers who asked OCG if he feared a return to Mexico. In other words, it was a false entry. They could not find, Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement could not find a live human being that actually had that interview and obtained that information. So now he's got to mea culpa, right? At the time I signed my declaration, I believed the entries in the software to be accurate. Judge not going to be happy. You have yet another example, right? We got the gay hairdresser who sent to El Salvador when he should never have been sent there because he's not a member of Tren de Aragua, and they should be ordered to bring him back. Right? We have other people. We have 2 toddlers who are U.S. citizens who were sent outside of the country with their deported mother. And they're U.S. citizens. We don't call that deportation. We don't call that removal. That's just they were expelled. And a Texas judge is trying to get them back, of all things. Why is it that every time there's an error, it's always on the wrong side of due process? Why is every time there's an error by the Trump administration, it is on the wrong side of human decency? Why do I have to do hot takes, but I have to shine a light on the violations of constitutional rights of people in this country? Let's be clear. If you're in this country, whether you're a suspected criminal or undocumented or whatever or a person who doesn't have proper status or whatever it is, you are a human being. You are in the United States. What makes us the United States is that you're entitled to constitutional protections of your rights because you have rights by being here, even if you're here illegally. And that means you have rights to due process. Now, you may end up going out again, and I may be there to wave at you at the airport. If it is proven through this adversarial process with proper notice and due process rights that you committed a crime, or you are subject to an order of removal, or you are undocumented, you are here illegally, whatever it is. But until that time and through that process, you are to remain in the United States. You are not to be sent to third-party countries. You are not to be sent to foreign jails. And with the stamp on you that you are Tren de Aragua. We're supposed to do things on this side of the border to make sure that we are the United States, that we administer our justice process all the way through incarceration, not that we delegate it to some foreign country that doesn't share our democratic and constitutional Republican values. That's torture. That is cruel and unusual punishment under the 8th Amendment. And I am sure this will all be coming up to the United States Supreme Court in due course, likely in the next term. I'm going to follow this case of OCG, what Judge Murphy does next, now that the government has had to confess with Mr. Ortega's declaration that they screwed up again. How about in the rush to judgment, in the rush to send these people out of the country, you take a breath, you pump your brakes, you give them due process that they're required, proper notice in the proper language, proper amount of time for them to retain counsel, for counsel to know about their existence. You know, not everybody carries around a business card with their name of their lawyer on it or on their phone. Give the lawyers time to find the clients. Give the clients time to find the lawyers. Let them all get before a federal judge on a writ of habeas corpus or an immigration judge, depending upon the issue. And let the process percolate. Let it play out. And when it's done, whatever the throughput is, whatever the end result is coming out the other side of this sausage grinder, I will accept the results as long as they are represented. It's an adversarial process. They are given all the information and documents that they need to defend themselves and to argue their case, and then let a judge decide. And that's our America that we live in. And that's why I'm here defending it every day. You're a foot soldier to protect the Constitution as well. It's not just me talking out loud. We are a show of action. We are a YouTube channel of action. And I'm glad you're here and sharing it with us. Take a moment, hit the free subscribe button for Legal AF. We just hit 2 of our major properties on Legal AF are in the top 100 of YouTube podcasts. I mean, we beat out some big names you wouldn't even know. You'd be shocked if I told you. Legal AF, the podcast, in the top 64 of millions of podcasts in the world. And even though my work here on the Legal AF YouTube channel is in the top 100 at number 90, just Popok at the intersection. That is you. That is our fellowship at work. That is our linking arms together in defense and support, in action, in resistance. I'm glad you're here. Join the Legal AF Substack as well. Subscribe button here. That's the way we build a community together. Till my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.